Namaste and welcome to Tridevi Chamunda Mandir in Denver, Colorado. This is Yamajit, and thank you for joining me for day 36 of Tibetan Book of the Dead Sadhana. This is actually the reading of the last directions to the deceased, and I'm going to do a little something on our altar here for that occasion. Light a guiding flame, and some incense. On our altar are three forms of Goddess Bhadrakali, who will be honored in a broadcast this evening. Should be available by 7 o'clock. This will be a pre-recorded broadcast. I did the Cho ceremony for my wife and my mother-in-law last night. Did film it and really liked how it turned out and felt it really worth sharing with you all. And I'd like to thank Aditya, who's joining right now, and anybody else who happens to be joining. Please feel free to say hello using the chat function on the bottom of your screen. So at this point, I invite you to make yourself comfortable. Find a comfortable seated position. Maybe roll your shoulders back to open the chest. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. And namaste to Ali, who's joining. Take a moment for grounding and for centering. And for Aditya, I'll say a little something about my guru at the end of this broadcast. Thank you for bringing that up, because actually it would be very appropriate to do so. But at the moment, with your eyes closed, I invite you to visualize the person for whom you've been doing this sadhana for. Imagine them sitting across from you. You can also invite them by saying their name 3 times silently to yourself. And just acknowledge that you are acting as a conduit for this information, both for the person for whom this sadhana has been dedicated, and also for all other souls in the Bardo state. O nobly born, if you are not able to rid yourself of attraction and repulsion, and do not know the art of selecting the womb door, whichever of the above visions may appear, call upon your past teachings and take refuge therein. Pray to your image of perfection. Walk with your head erect. Know yourself in the place called the after-earth life. Cast away all weakness and attraction toward your sons and daughters, or any relations left behind you. They can be of no use to you. Enter upon the white light path of the spirits, or upon the yellow light path of human beings. Enter into the great mansions of precious metals and into the delightful gardens. Enter again. The palace encrusted with gems, walk knowingly in the pleasure gardens, bubble of illusion, rest in the golden rays. Sarvamangalam. Enter again. The palace encrusted with gems, walk knowingly in the pleasure gardens, bubble of illusion, rest in the golden rays. Sarvamangalam. Enter again. The palace encrusted with gems, walk knowingly in the pleasure gardens, bubble of illusion, rest in the golden rays. Sarvamangalam. Enter again the palace encrusted with gems, walk knowingly in the pleasure gardens, bubble of illusion, rest in the golden rays. Sarvamangalam. Enter again the palace encrusted with gems, walk knowingly in the pleasure gardens, bubble of illusion, rest in the golden rays. Sarvamangalam. Enter again the palace encrusted with gems, walk knowingly in the pleasure gardens, bubble of illusion, rest in the golden rays. Sarvamangalam. Enter again the palace encrusted with gems, walk knowingly in the pleasure gardens, bubble of illusion, rest in the golden rays. Sarvamangalam. Enter again the palace encrusted with gems, walk knowingly in the pleasure gardens, bubble of illusion, rest in the golden rays. Sarvamangalam. Sanye chodang soki chok namla jangcho badudak ni kyap suchi dakshi jin shuki peso nam ki drola panchi sanye drupa shok pei sanye chodang soki chok namla jangcho badudak ni kyap suchi dakshi jin suki peso nam ki drola panchi sangye drupa shok pei sangye chodang soki chok nam la jangcho badudak si jin shoki pe drola panchi sangye drupa shok pei. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha, until enlightenment, I take refuge in you. May we, through merit of generosity and so on, achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Pei. I invite you now to take a deep and clearing breath, letting go of the meditation. Slowly opening your eyes. And as always, I advise to take some time in quiet meditation before resuming the day's activities. So this was the final words to the deceased from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. The translation I've been using is this one here, The Beginner's Guide by Paul Love. Kind of a middle-of-the-road translation. There's actually a simpler one that you may want to choose to explore, and it's this one here, the Tibetan Book of the Dead for reading aloud. And that very last reading, it's customary to recite that 7 times. And so I did the equivalent passage from the book for reading aloud 7 times in today's reading. And then it's also customary to end with a closing prayer recited 3 times. And so I chose to use our refuge in bodhicitta for that purpose. Tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll be sharing with you some addendum readings to the Tibetan book, one directly from the translation I've been reading from, a second also from that translation on some of the basic Buddhist philosophies behind this practice. And then for our third addendum, I'm going to switch gears a little bit to the Hindu side of our tradition. And I'm going to read some passages from the Bhagavad Gita, which are traditionally read at Hindu funerals, especially during the time when the cremation fire is being lit. So I just had a question saying something about my guru, and this is very appropriate because these last 36 days practice have been dedicated to her. My primary guru was Nafia, also known as Kim Johnson of Shiva Sai Mandir, also of Denver, Colorado, who passed 36 days ago. And she was the one who, really the right teacher who came at the right time back in 2004. And it's from her that I learned to be a pujari from. And so when she passed, I asked her daughter if I could do this sadhana, continue this sadhana for her, and do it as a broadcast, really as an act of seva dedicated to her memory. And so these installments are for everybody to utilize toward those whom closest to them who they may have lost. So Aditya, thank you so much for bringing up that question. So our altar is from, as I said before, for the Cho practice dedicated to Ma Bhadrakali that will be available to view this evening. And I invite you to do that either lying down in Shavasana or as a seated meditation. And Aditya, thank you so very much for everything you've shared, and also to Ali, everything you're sharing right now. And Abhinavagupta, another wonderful, inspiring individual. So thank you, everyone who has taken part in this series these last 36 days. And I also want to thank everybody who will be watching the recordings of this in the future. So once again, namaste. Blessings always. Thank you so very much for joining me. I look forward to joining me for the final 3 installments. Also on Tuesday, where I'll be sharing a meditation based on the Navadurga Stotram, the hymn to the 9 Durgas. And Jema. 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 Om Namas Chandakaye. Om Namas Chandakaye. Om Namas Chandakaye. Jema. Thank you.